In all the years I've been playing guitar and listening to music, you can really hear the great players' touch, tone, and feel on the instrument. But how did they get that? Did they practice it? Was it something that just came naturally to them? It's probably a lot of the latter, but let's talk about some ways that we can actually try to work on getting better tone from our hands. I've taught thousands of students over the years, and plenty of them can get around the guitar, play their scales, their chords, their arpeggios, all sorts of different things. But let's say if they're playing an A minor pentatonic scale, it might sound like this. As opposed to hear how that tone was richer the second time I played it? Well, I want to talk to you about a couple ways that we can make that happen for you and get you out of the plinky telephone dialing sound, I like to call it. I'll even hear people play blues like that. As opposed to so there's going to be some things in this video that will be a little avant-garde maybe that you haven't tried, but I think it's really going to help you get the tone in your hands. So if you're primarily an electric guitar player, I want you to do something. I want you to unplug your guitar or turn it down. Don't use any amplification when you're practicing. And when you are practicing, and if you are taking that pentatonic scale approach, I want you to play and really hang in on the note a little bit longer than you normally would. Now I'm going to use my old Epiphone Casino here. This is a great 1961 model, and it's fully hollow, so you'll hear a little bit through my vocal microphone here. And notice how I'm going to play that scale. And I want the note to ring out and be rich. What's going to happen is your fingers are forced to pull the tone out of the guitar at that point. You have no help from the amplifier, and that's important. And when you're playing sitting on their couch or whatever, I want you to really listen for that. And instead of going, I want you to go. Notice how and you'll hear the guitar rattle a little bit, it's old, but I want you to kind of get those notes to sound even, and a long sustain is what we're going for. As opposed to. So how do we get those notes to ring out and be rich? Well, let me plug in and we'll talk about how we can do some different things technique-wise to help the tone in our hands. So if I'm playing that simple A minor pentatonic scale, I want to not only play the first note, I want to hang in there and let it ring, because if you're playing like eighth notes or quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1 and 2 and, I want you to hang in a little bit longer than you normally would and let that note ring out to the last moment. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now check this out. As I play the first note, there's nothing behind it other than the nut and the tuners. But as I play that next note on my pinky, or my third finger, I'm a pinky guy up here, notice how I'm playing the A note behind the C. So now I've shortened the distance that I have to push the string down, and I'm getting more mass on the guitar to get a richer tone. If I did that, there's slight enough variation that I can hear that it makes a difference. Now as I start to go up, you'll notice that I even put other fingers, sometimes the second finger, behind that. Shorten the distance again, got a nice rich tone. I'm also pretty close to the fret. I'm not back here, I'm not in the middle. As opposed to, see, when I come off like that, I'm not getting the rich quality of the string. So the key is hang in there, play acoustically, turn your guitar down, and try to bring those notes out. Now you're hearing a little buzz, that's just me picking a little bit too hard. But the note is rich nonetheless, and that's what we want. Not. And I know some of you are doing that out there, and you're like, why can't I get a tone as good as Corey? Well, it's because you need to hang in there a little bit longer. That's the key. So my gear choices for this video were on purpose. For one, I was interested in trying these Sire guitars that Larry Carlton and Marcus Miller are behind. Pleasantly surprised. Roasted maple neck, rolled frets so they feel nice and played in and vintage. Really great sounding hum single pickup combination, 2-point floating trem, just volume and tone. That's all I need on a guitar like this. Locking tuners. It's check out that neck joint too. It's like they do a little like kind of scarfing there. It's a really nice instrument, and it's like less than $700. So I rang up Sweetwater. They said, let's get you this guitar and do a sponsored video. And we're gonna so Sweetwater's sponsoring this video. I was genuinely interested in this guitar and shocked when I got it. But I thought, okay, let's do that, but let's play a vintage amplifier. So this is a 1965 Fender Bassman and a Golden Reverberator pedal from Universal Audio to give me some nice reverb there. Let's turn it up a little bit. Not too much though, because what I want to do, I want to show you that one of the things you might be doing is not playing the crap out of your guitar enough. You're saying, I practice all the time, but I want you to play your instrument from 0 to 100. So what I mean is if you're playing, let's play just a bar chord, right? So that's kind of me like at, oh, I don't know, on a scale of 1 to 10, about a 4 or 5 in intensity. So I want you to play lightly and press hard with your fretting hand. But I also want you to kind of go through the entire spectrum of intensity. Play the guitar as hard as you can. Play it as softly as you can. I would get so many students, particularly adult students, and this is probably going to apply to you. You're probably an adult watching this. I know it's people from 35 to 65 or older that watch this channel. So I'm speaking to you, and you might have bought a guitar, and you might be playing around the house, and you want to play, but you don't want people to hear your mistakes. So maybe you're going, that's okay, but it's not real world guitar playing. What I want you to do is go, same thing if you're down here playing open chords. I feel that so many of you are probably going, oh, that sounds nice. But lay into it. See what this guitar can give you. See what the pickups sound like if you have a multi-pickup guitar. I would have no problem doing this with young players, like young in age, because kids don't know any differently. They just go for it. Adults know what sounds bad already, and they want to avoid it. So they don't want people to hear them sounding bad, much less hear themselves playing badly. Kids will go. Back in the day when I had to teach Green Day and stuff like that, I was like, you gotta lay into it. You know, if I... It wasn't... So lay into your guitar. Learn how to back off the strings when needed and press harder. Generally, I press pretty hard with my left hand, and my attack when I'm playing nice bluesy lines is lighter here and harder here. So if you're a lefty, it'd be the opposite, obviously. Okay, so lay into your guitar, play the out of it, and get some sounds. Get the whole wide range of your instrument in your ears and in your hands. So I've only been playing the Sire for a few weeks, and I didn't have a hum single pickup guitar, so that's why I was like, well, let me try this one. You know, it's inexpensive enough, and we'll see what it sounds like. And again, I've been pleased. But what I do with most new guitars is I take them to one of my luthier friends here in Nashville. In this case, it's my friend Jared Peterman. So I went over to his house, hung out with him and his dog, put it on his bench, and I got some tips from him about how you can get more tone out of your instrument, whether it's playing on a string, whether it's playing back here, all the way up here, hearing how that tone changes. He had some advice about playing on the frets as well, and just some overall stuff. He's a really, really great tech, one of a few friends that I have that are awesome techs in town. Let's talk to Jared a little bit and see what he says about getting tone and also tweaking, you know, a guitar that's less than 700 bucks.
As far as like with your hands, it's how you attack the strings with your pick, the velocity, probably the angle. So you angle it, you can get like a scrapey cello effect. Flat pick, you get more of the string itself. Some guys do this, and that's going to force the string down into the fretboard.
Right.
Because it's going at that angle and vibrating this way as opposed to this way. So when you're dealing with, you know, larger frets, you're going to have to account for that as well and learn to not press so hard.
Right.
But you want to maintain really good contact. You know that. Just enough contact to get sustain out of the string.
Right. And then you're Jeff Healy.
Yeah. Exactly.
Banger.
Yeah. So how much was this thing?
Under 700 bucks.
Man.
As you can probably tell, Jared's a really knowledgeable guy. I always learn something when I'm over his place. And I go there a few times a year, especially when I get new instruments. I like to have him, give him the once over, and he does some tweaks and stuff that makes it feel good for me. He makes his own instruments too. I'll flash a picture here. You can see they're called Clydesdale guitars. Really, really cool stuff. So remember, again, play your guitar unplugged and try to get as much tone out of it as you can. Try to employ things like vibrato and conjure those tones from the strings, whether it's on your left hand or right hand. Experiment with picking hard, picking softly, but holding that string down enough that it resonates and it really pulls the rich tone out of the instrument. We talked about laying into it. That sounds good coming through a vocal mic, and that's just a hollow old guitar. It's because my hands have figured out how to hold those strings down and lay into it and pull that tone out. And again, play around with your right hand. That's like the gauge of dynamics, and that's really important. Those things are what's going to separate you from the level that you're at to the level that you want to get to. So like always, I'll put links to the Sire and the Golden Reverberator pedal. Again, these are pretty amazing instruments for the money. That roasted neck alone and the rolled edges, what sold me. So I'm gonna get used to it and see if it stays in the arsenal, which it probably will since I don't have a hum single guitar. And thanks again for Sweetwater for hooking us up with the Sire S7. I'm gonna put it through the paces some more, and you'll probably see it in other videos. All right, see you next time.